had it, and then we didn't. Then we had it again, and we didn't again. Damn it. Oh, well.
Awesome.
And welcome in, everybody. It is episode 184 of Out of Your Falcon Mind, Atlanta Falcons Fancast. My name is John, your host. Obviously not joined by Mike, but maybe for the first time ever in Out of Your Falcon Mind history is a consecutive show guest, Mr. Stephen Harrell. What's up, buddy?
I was making a sandwich, got the text, said, "Hey, here to answer the call."
Dude. So yeah. Yeah, so obviously, I don't know if y'all watched the preview show. Mike is traveling to Nebraska for work this week, so I hit him up yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, so our plan was to go live after we won last night. Well, clearly that didn't happen. So I said, if we don't go live, when are we going to go live?" And he's like, let's do 8 p.m. like our Eastern time, right? Okay, cool. So his flight ends up getting held up, and he texts me like 30 minutes ago. He's like, "Dude, I haven't got the baggage yet. Then I got to go to Walmart to get stuff for a biscuit, then get to the hotel." I'm like, "All right." So I hit the phone. Stephen, like, "Hey, dude, what do you feel about co-hosting the show tonight?" So he's like, "Oh, let me do that." So yeah, thank you, dude. I appreciate it, man. It was a hell of a thing for you to jump on here last minute like this. But look, man, if y'all are new to the show, welcome and hope you enjoy it. Hope you stick around. If you're here on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, man. Keep helping us grow on this platform. You're listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Drop us a 5-star review if you are able to do so. And yeah, we have merchandise. I'll put that up on the screen soon, scrolling on the bar, and it'll also be in the description of the video. You can email us atlfalconfancast@gmail.com. You can follow our TikTok or Instagram, Out of Your Falcon Mind. Of course, we're on Twitter, Out of Your Effing Mind, which I tweet a lot during the games typically, or at least I try to. So that was that was not. It was fun at times and not fun at times last night. But we'll get into the whole thing here in a few minutes. We do have a special guest tonight who's going to be joining us for a little bit, and it is Mr. Tre'shon Diaz, buddy.
There he is.
It's been since the draft, man. How are you doing, dude?
Hey, fellas. I'm doing well. Yeah, first show of the regular season for me, so I'm excited to be here. Obviously, wish we were in better spirits, but yeah. I'm really not feeling that bad, to be honest with you, after the game.
I've seen you holding up in the trenches on Twitter, Tre'shon. I tell everybody to take a deep breath. I'm with you. I don't think it's quite as bad as everybody's making it out to be, and that goes from play calling to players to just the loss in general. So I see you out there kind of trying to calm everybody down, and I think I'm with you a little bit. It sucks to lose like that, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. It does suck, though. I'm straight up. It sucks to lose that game the way you did, but it is what it is.
I'm sure there's people that have followed me for a little bit. They're like, "All right, what's the catch?" Waiting for me.
Who the hell stole Tre'shon's phone?
Waiting for me to pull the old bait and switch. But I really do think that people should feel a little bit better about that one. You're playing the back-to-back defending Super Bowl champs. You're playing the best coach, the best DC, in my opinion, the best quarterback. And you were in it down to linemen, till the very end. So I'm excited to talk about that with you guys.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we got to say too, like, since you joined us, your title has changed, and you've got a few new jobs. So tell the folks what you're doing now.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to join Savion Mixon over at the Sporting News, working on Falcons content there. Savion hit me up over the summer, and so I was really lucky to get that opportunity with him. And then not too long after that, I ended up applying to work at the Falcoholic and have been with the team since about July. And so been doing a lot of preseason content, and now we're starting to get into the regular season. Then just been trying to do more cut-ups, more stuff like that, and then try to balance out a little bit as well. I think get a little bit more even keeled this year. And I think I'm holding it down pretty well.
No, you have. I mean, I like for folks that don't know you on Twitter, maybe like they don't understand maybe the sarcasm or some of the cynicism or something like that. So I love watching it because sometimes interactions are just like, they could like, man, this dude is like, I'm like, y'all just, I don't even say anything because I don't want to ruin it. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch. But I watch it from afar. Sometimes I will send you like a little GIF or something like that. Like yeah, and I got you. But yeah. So anyway, man. So appreciate you both joining us tonight, man. Let's hop in the chat real quick before we get going, man. Miss Lisa Shepard, what's going on? She said Bijan and Cousins changed the call on that last play. Yeah, we're going to get into it. Liam, what's up, buddy? Just got back from a run. Lisa was, she said that. Yeah, the first drive was. It was a fantastic drive. Yeah, exactly. Uncle Steve, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
Make sure y'all check out Uncle Steve's. I think he must have just got off your live. He was live earlier. So what's up, John and Tre'shon and Steve? I like it. I like your other guest name too. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I'm really more encouraged than upset. If any, that was a great litmus test going into the division schedule. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at too, man. She said that we had that game though, and that's why we were feeling this way. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's why you feel that way because we were in it to the end and had multiple opportunities to take care of it. And the guy there right next to Tre'shon may have some, had a little bit of influence on the game, unfortunately, but not the reason we lost, but definitely also doesn't help, especially when, the whole world basically sees them get bailed out a lot of times by the guys that are wearing the stripes. So we'll just start, like Lisa said, that first drive, man. Like I didn't know what to expect, but Zach came out, was a little screen to Darnell, and then it just came out of nowhere, and that was a great play call, and then just right down the field, boom, boom, boom. I was like, damn, all right, let's go. And I was feeling good, and defense. I mean, let me backtrack. So we said, Steve, on the preview show, like a few things needed to happen for us to win, right? We needed to hopefully have some long sustaining drives to keep Pat off the field, right? Did not have that. Until late in the game, we had that 8-minute drive or so, but that was a little too late. But at one point, I think the Chiefs had double the amount of plays that we had. I mean, I think they were running out. I think they had like 60, and we were like at 26 or 27. And that is really tough on your defense, especially when you're trying to, that was like at halftime. We hadn't even got to halftime yet. They already had double our amount of plays, and third down wasn't great, which we'll get to that too. But needed to do that. We needed to take the ball away, and when we took the ball away, that's one thing I said. We need to get points off that takeaway. And Justin Simmons again picks off Mahomes. I mean, like he does, and but we didn't get points off of it, which sucked. So that ended up being our only turnover for the game. But those two things were so important, basically, other than just obviously having continuity with the offense and hopefully staying healthy, which obviously did not happen, and that happened early in the game. So, in fact, pretty much the opposite. I mean, KC had the long sustaining drives, kept us out on the field longer. Travis Kelce was really kind of non-existent for the most part of the game. Rashee Rice did his thing. I mean, again, but all those things being said, as Tre'shon said earlier, we were still in it, man. We were in it and we were down our best right tackle. We were down our center, and we had multiple chances to win it at the end. So yeah, I mean, it sucks we lost. Like, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I kind of projected we go 2-2 in these first four. I mean, I wasn't projecting the Eagles to be one of the wins. I thought it'd be the Steelers, but I mean, either way, if we take care of business against the Saints, then we are 2-2. But I mean, I feel good about it. I mean, I feel pretty good about where we're at. I mean, Steve.
I guess for me, the biggest thing, I talked about this with a couple of different people, including you. The biggest thing for me was going into this game, did we have a plan on offense to attack the Chiefs' man coverage? And that first drive, and really most of the game, we had a plan to attack their man coverage because the Chiefs want to play man. I will also give credit, we talked about it in the preview show. I'm not quite as high on our offensive weapons as some other people are. Looking at the tape, they won their one-on-ones enough to win this game. They won, and they're obviously the ones at the end stand out with Pitts winning his one-on-one. But you look throughout the game, Drake won like a fade route that we just barely missed him on. There was an alert route that we didn't go to. It was actually the big play we had to Mooney where he won in the slot, that nice move outside, breaking in, crosser. Mm-hmm. On the other side of that, we had Pitts one-on-one outside, and he gapped somebody. So as much as I, am trying to be critical of these players, I don't think they've lived up to, what we need them to be. This week they did. And unfortunately, we just had some bad footballs from Kirk, which, kind of sucks. We still had a chance to win it, so I'm not acting like Kirk was terrible. But, I mean, it's hard for me to come away with that game and feel terrible because I thought we came in with a good game plan. Again, we identified how to attack them on defense. We knew what they wanted to do. The first touchdown's a little wheel route to Drake that functions both as like a fake screen and kind of a pick route. That's pick routes are good against man coverage, common sense, right? So I thought we came in there with a plan to attack them on defense. And, at the end of the day, it's just hard to beat the Chiefs. And, we had opportunities to there in the end. So I can't sit there and pretend that I'm overall discouraged from this game. Now, you got to carry it forward. You can't just go get your ass beat by the Saints, because then nobody's going to be encouraged. But if you go out there, you stack a win against the Saints, you leave this stretch of the schedule 2-2. I mean, I'm with you, John. I predicted us to beat the Steelers, lose to the Chiefs and Philly, then pick up a win against the Saints. So, if you can come out of this stretch 2-2, I think you're in a good spot. But I'm curious what Tre'shon thinks. I know he was deep diving into the film as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that touchdown to London. That was like a beautiful. They've been setting up that rocket screen like these past 2 games, and you could tell the Chiefs. I mean, like, you want to talk about gravity, you just see everybody sink into
Bijan. Like
Bijan.
4 people on Bijan, man.
And Drake's just there for the layup. So just seeing plays like that. Knowing that we were up 14-7 with like 6.5 to go in the second, they were cooking, man. I mean, they were taking it to him, and like, you see those injuries go down, and then Spags is like sees blood in the water, and it's just like, kill, go at the QB. Now we can bring the heat, and like, it took the third quarter, but still, once we got about halfway into the fourth, the offense started to kind of roll again. And like, that's adjusting on the fly. That's kind of being able to start picking out things that are working, and, being able to work with what you've got and not make excuses like, oh, I'm playing the Chiefs, I'm playing Spags right now, this is only my 3rd game. Still called a game good enough to get in position to win. Still had, a chance to walk out of another primetime game with imagine if they go back to back with the last minute touchdowns. It would have been sweet. And like, it totally sucks that it's like, we were right there. But we've talked about that last play. We've learned so much since then. We've learned that it was a check call. We don't know, what are Kirk's options in there. There's a chance that we actually had enough people there, and maybe if you have somebody that's more a natural fullback, maybe they make that adjustment when they feel the space open up, because that's kind of what they're taught to do, and they know, okay, I can go off my assignment here because I see hat on a hat in front of me, and I can go make that play. But that's tough to ask Algier to suddenly understand. Like, that's like nuances of the position that takes guys, years and reps and reps and reps of playing in order to get comfortable to the point to make that kind of move. So that play still had a chance. We just didn't execute it that well. I think we've seen that they want to stress defenses horizontally, and they like going east-west, and they've had good returns so far. I posted, a bunch of different clips today, just kind of going back through and looking at some of the stuff they've done. And, I personally would have liked Kirk, I think, having the ball in his hands. Maybe we try to throw it. I get it's 4th and inches, but I'm like, you ran it up the middle with Algier right before that. I don't really know if I'm doing that again. And I mean, Kirk certainly didn't want to do it, because apparently that was the original call for 4th down there was, we're going to hand it back off and go straight up the middle. So, it's tough. It's a tough one to lose, but the defense adjusted. They were able to, held Patrick Mahomes to 10 points in the first half. Are you kidding me? Like,
I know.
Our defense, the Atlanta Falcons, like, and that's with like not a great pass rush. Like, we still have like holes on that side of the football right now. But for me, like, encouraging. I really don't like the moral victory game or anything like that, but like, they like lost this game on like a sound basis, in my opinion, and they stuck to their guns, and I think they'll learn from that.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't at the time, and I still don't like the call. Like, I mean, But, it's one of those situations where if it works, everybody's happy, nobody cares. If it doesn't work, and you're going to criticize the hell out of it. It happens every time. It doesn't matter what the situation is. But I mean, yeah, I mean, looking at the last night I'm watching, I'm like, dude, we need 3 inches. Why are we running 18 yards to the left? I mean, no, it wasn't 18 yards to the left, but I mean, why are we stretching it out like this? Especially when, I mean, as soon as that ball was snapped, I mean, like the entire KC defense was just, they were going that way. I mean, it was going to be, and you look at it from the end zone angle, you can see the matchups, you can see, and actually, if anybody's on Twitter or X, whatever, might have saw Keith Smith actually responded back to Tre'shon's video earlier today, and like we'll get to that in a second, but kind of giving some insight on what he thought, that play was supposed to be like, especially from Tyler Allgeier's standpoint. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. Like I would have done really anything kind of but that, as much stupid as that. I mean, because we'd kind of spammed that outside zone pretty much all game. And, we talked about in the preview show, like Spags is really good. Like, well, that's what he does. He stops what you're good at almost at every team. And Bijan was averaging like 1.9 yards a carry. I mean, and he was not getting his 6 and 7 yards a carry like he was last week. It was not even close to the same. They were stopping that run. So to line up and do it again at that point, I was like, yeah, okay. Like maybe, and I don't know if Kirk can actually do a bootleg. I don't know if that's physically possible, but I mean, like just really, I mean, just anything to, like I said, put it in his hands. I mean, the guy, like Steven said, the guys are winning their one-on-one matchups. You got a big body in Drake who can just go box out guys. You got same thing with Kyle. So yeah, I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. I wouldn't have been my first go-to for sure. But yes, Trey, just tell the folks. I mean, like if you, I don't have to tell the entire tweet, but yeah,
like this is what used to make Twitter great, is that you'd get these interactions more often. You'd get like actual experts and people who know like what they're talking about in that situation. And Keith Smith didn't actually like hate the play call at all. Mm-hmm. He thought that it really just kind of came down to execution, and he thinks that it was an unscouted look, which basically means that and I think what would have been the look they weren't expecting was having Chanel down there on the line, and I think that caused like the overfill in the gap, and then it made Warner. What made it tough was basically, is the guard tackle combo supposed to work up to Bolton there, or was Warner supposed to be the one to peel off and get the linebacker, or was it supposed to be Allgeier comes in and does a combo block into the D gap, which then has Warner go out to the outside and lead, and then you seal off the outside zone. So there's like about 3 different avenues there, and it was really interesting to get Smith's opinion. He isn't so sure like if Allgeier would have been asked to do, coming off and filling that hole in that space. So I think that's probably fair because they want to execute it a specific way. You're not really asking guys to kind of do some of those things we talked about earlier, which is kind of those nuances of playing. Because if you see that somebody's blocked, in depending on whether you're a fullback or whether you're a tight end or whether you're a lineman, your reaction is going to be different based on what your keys are, what you've been coached to do your entire time, and everything else like that. So it was really nice getting his perspective and kind of seeing what he thought. Steven, what did you think of the of the play and kind of how everything unfolded?
Yeah, so I wasn't as critical of it. Again, I'm kind of with John here. Even as we were doing that live, I was like, I would rather be passing the ball here. But in terms of what they called on the play, I understand that if Allgeier makes his block, and when you talk about lead blocking principles, there's kind of some philosophies where basically you need to identify who the most dangerous unblocked player is, and in that case, it would kind of be that linebacker there, and that's where you're hoping that Allgeier has that feel and kind of sees him and knows that this guy's going to be crashing down. It doesn't hope that our guard and tackle kind of get pushed back, because what you're really hoping is you're going to kind of create a wall, and that makes it more natural for Allgeier to kind of go with the line, and he'll see it easier. As it stood, the line got pushed back so far that it was almost like a wall, and like you can't really see over them. So like you're saying, there's a lot of nuance to that play. Again, I don't necessarily love the play call. Like I would not have called that, just to be honest with you. I would not have. Now, I will say bit of a tangent here, but I like the 2 running backs because we ran out a lot against the Steelers fairly successfully.
I do too.
I remember I was talking to somebody about it. I was like, they might make Algier a lead blocker at some point, and then it kind of blew up in my face. So, I know ball because I predicted it. I don't know ball because I'm dumb, and it didn't work out. But yeah, I don't have any issues with the 4th down play call. If anything, I actually, the 4th down play call to Drake London in the end zone, as far as I can tell, the only design on that entire play, so on 4th down, trying to get a touchdown, the only design is to Drake. No one else seems to actually be running anything that I can. Again, I'm not in the room. Maybe there's stuff I'm not knowing. I'm not trying to pretend I'm the end-all, be-all. But as far as I can tell, it looks like the intent is really just Drake running to the goalpost, kind of throwing a pop pass. So for me, I don't necessarily like your 4th down play call only having one option. So that's probably something I'm more critical about. I also think, I can't be that critical. I said this in my own review I did. I can't be that critical because it should have worked. I mean, Drake London was open. We just threw a terrible football just like we did to Kyle. So it's hard for me to get upset about the final play call when I thought we had 2 good play calls that should have scored prior to that. So to me, it's kind of a nothing burger. Like, it's fine. I don't think it was a terrible play call. I don't think it was good. But there's other things to discuss about the game other than that.
I have a question for both of you. Because I'm glad you brought up the Pitts play because, and I'm glad that you made the comment there about it kind of looking like everybody else is just, that's such a classic. There's, little staples and sprinkles of Big 12 in this offense that we have, with these screens. I'm like, this is, peak Oklahoma State, the offense that, Z-Rob was running with some of these bubble screen concepts and everything like that. But with that fade route, I think it was the same thing. But on the Pitts play, when you guys watched it back or when you've looked at it, I thought that both Pitts and Mooney were running fake routes. I'm like, what is this? Why? This was not a great pass, and Pitts got open. I think Kirk was stunned at how open Pitts got. I think it made him pause. When I go back and look at this play, it's almost set up like Mooney and London are clearing out and clogging up the middle there at the top. And then you see Drake London breaking in, and it's McDuffie who's in position to drive into the ball or into Drake's frame if he's able to set up. But it looked like it was almost set up for London to then just kind of get a nice, maybe low ball slant and get a touchdown there. But what did you guys think about that play, beyond the PI, which we all know it was, it's PI. Yeah. There's really nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, dude. Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking. I was like, what in the world? And then, clearly PI, but it's I thought it was hysterical. The next drive they called a PI, which the next drive it legitimately was as well. But I was like, come on, really, this is when you're going to fucking call it. Now you see
you keep that. Come on, man.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's you need when they called the first 2. Liam was like, "Oh, they're giving it back to us." I'm like, they need 4 more now because they literally cost us the 1st and goal. So we're not even close to being even yet. But yeah, no, dude, I agree with you. I don't even have anything to add, Steven.
I guess for me, the concept, it looked to me like they were basically almost trying to run almost a pick route with London, where they're basically running Ray on an out route, and it's a stack formation. So Drake's kind of running behind him, then breaking open into the window that Pitts kind of clears going to the back. So I think the intent of the play is to hit London. That said, Pitts just wins so damn hard.
Yeah,
okay.
And it sucks because I think, unfortunately for Kirk, I think that play and then the following play to Drake were both open. And if he just throws a better football, then I think they're both touchdowns. So I'm not going to defend Kirk for either of those throws. I think he had time in the pocket, especially for the Drake London throw after, because the only intent of the plays, as far as I can tell, is to throw it to Drake. So there's no excuse that you got confused. You know exactly where you're trying to throw it. Tough balls from Drake, or not Drake, but from Kirk there. And I thought the play call to Pitts was fine. I'm with you. It was kind of weird to watch because I'm sure they really expected Pitts to win. I think he's more of a clear out. I think the intent of the play is to go to Drake, and Pitts just wins, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
Interesting one.
Yeah, are we all good with the fact that they went for it on that situation? Because we've seen the people that's like, "Oh, you should have kicked," and then but I mean, that's so hindsight,
man.
so
Hindsight.
hindsight.
No
Like,
one in their chair, and if you were, you know what, I want to meet you and shake your hand. But no one
not shaking your
that I
hand,
know
damn
was
it.
sitting there being like, "Yeah, you want to kick the ball to take the field goal and then give the ball to Patrick Mahomes with like 4 minutes left from his 30-yard line." No one sane thinks that. Now, if you think it, again, I want to shake your hand. He's incredible foresight there, but
yeah, I don't care what.
I'm not that smart. I would have fucking went for the touchdown like we did.
Yeah, I don't care how good your defense has played. Like, because I mean, we've seen him do that his entire career. Like, you give him we see him do it. I mean, 45 seconds, much less 4 minutes. Like, I'm not doing that. No, of course not. I'm trying to get a touchdown. But I mean, so yeah, so I think we covered those two plays pretty well there. So I mean, yeah, that's what stings more. I mean, like the penalty, of course, sucks. Yeah, it takes away a 1st and goal, but it's not like we didn't have opportunities to win, outside of that, which blows. But the 3rd down efficiency, guys, or I should say inefficiency. So this is the 3rd straight game, 2 for 9 on 3rd down, and it's a combination of things. Obviously, we're not winning a lot of some of the early downs as we're getting a 3rd and long and stuff like that. But I mean, Trey, how do we fix that, man?
Yeah, I think that those are the things where I'm a little bit more concerned, with kind of the offense right now. 2 and 9 on 3rd down in all 3 games. Off the top of my head, I can think of like a Bijan drop pass. I can think of a Mooney route where he didn't keep running. Like, there's little things that I can keep thinking of where I'm like, okay, there were good play calls. There was just bad execution. But there is, still a fair amount of it that, is not great play calls. And, I think that we're really good on early downs, but we have struggled on 3rd, really regardless of distance. So I think it's kind of been the area that Zach needs to improve in the most. It's a tough down, it's the toughest down in the NFL. And like, I've been making this joke with Kevin, the Falcoholic, for a while now, but it's like, if you look at like the amount of experience that Zach's gone up against in his first year, it's like 60 years of coaching compared to his current year.
Yeah.
Like, he's going up against some of the best minds and the best minds in like all of football. So he's taking his lumps against some of the best out there, and he's given them some problems too. Like, and that's kind of been the thing that's nice to see, is that he has been able to adjust his game. He's been able to show that he can grow, that he's learning. This is kind of what I expected the process to be for him at the beginning. So definitely want to see the team improve on 3rd downs. It's the NFL. Everybody's good. It helps that the defenses we're about to start seeing aren't, all Super Bowl level or top 10 in the league perennial defenses. So I think that's definitely going to help a little bit. I think it's going to help everybody. So it'll be interesting to see what they start to do and how they start to attack 3rd down.
Yeah. I don't want to turn this into total X's and O's like podcast, though it has been fun. I love talking X's and O's, especially with Tre'shon. He knows what he's talking about, and yourself, John. We're all deep in the 22. But what I was going to say is, I think we unfortunately just have some limitations inherently with Kirk Cousins that makes it hard to operate on 3rd down. Because when I was looking at the film just a little bit ago, kind of reviewing for my own content I'm putting out, I think there was one throw over the middle he could have made to Drake London with some anticipation. Didn't pull the trigger for whatever reason. Kind of blurry. There's like a deep hook player. I get it. That one, I'm not calling it like a bad play. I get why he didn't throw it. The one where, we kind of saw him try to scramble and he just like falls over because he's old as hell and unathletic. That's one of those plays where, again, I don't want to say the name because it'll alarm people. But if we have a more, let's say, young athletic quarterback out there, they might roll right and be able to hit Ray McLeod coming open downfield for like a 40-yard game. Because it was going to be a 40-yard game because there was no one in the area. We just don't have that sort of quarterback, because it's not Kirk's fault. I'm not sitting here blaming Kirk, because at the first window, if he was going to fit in the first window to Ray on that play, it was going to be a really tight window throw between like a linebacker and a safety. I don't blame him for not throwing that. But as you get time, the 2nd and 3rd window throws where you're getting deep into down. So that's the big thing. Like, the second and third window open. It's why they're called the second and third window. They're like later in the down. So you don't have an athletic quarterback who can extend. It makes it harder to get to those throws. And I mean, you see it all around the league, man. It's just defenses are so good, especially if they know they don't have to account for the quarterback as a rusher. So part of it, I think we could do better schematically. Sometimes we're just not converting short downage because our running game isn't working. You know, that I don't think is designed. Like, you should trust this offensive line to try to win on rundowns. We're just not doing it right now. So it's a bit of design. Some of it's player limitations. Some of it's players. So I don't want to put all the blame on him because I think in this particular game, nothing stood out to me on third down as like egregious. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, why are we calling that? Nobody's open. Just some situations where, okay, we called the right call, and then, you know, Kirk can't get outside the pocket and buy just enough time to make the throw. So it's tough. I'm not going to be super critical. I think the biggest thing to me is we've seen improvement game to game in play calling. We've seen adaptability, so it's hard for me to be too discouraged. But I am with y'all. Like, if you want to win football games, you have to be able to convert third down. So that's how you sustain drives. Like, you can't sit here living off, you know, the Mooney touchdown we had against Philly. Like, explosive plays are great, but they're not consistent. So if you can consistently convert downs, it's a, you know, safer way to produce offense than just, you know, 2 or 3 explosive plays a game. Because if you don't get those 2 or 3 explosive plays, I mean, it's going to be hard to put up points.
Yeah. Poor Kirk, man. That was rough to watch. I mean, like, I'm 5 years older than Kirk, man. I could have spun out of that shit and got at least 5 or 6 yards. I'm telling you, like, I'm no question in my mind.
It's kind of sad. I don't know, man.
Like, I mean, I know they're coming off the Achilles, but
man, he can't run.
Damn. But anywho, so Trey, you still good on time, buddy? I know you.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
All right,
I'll
so
take the back seat, take over, Tre'shon, pop off.
All right, I got one question for Trey, and then Trey, you can talk about whatever the hell you want for the last 5 minutes. Are you satisfied with Kyle Pitts after we get 3 games into it? You think it's we haven't necessarily schemed him open? Is he not like what's I mean, yeah, he had the long pass, long catch, whatever. You know, we saw Gesicki and likely kind of just destroy that defense. Is that just a case of Andy Reid going, we're not going to allow, and Spagnuolo, we're not going to allow this to happen for the 3rd time in a row with Kyle Pitts? Or, you know, I mean, how are we feeling about Kyle's? I guess what I'm getting at here.
Yeah, so the thing about Sean McVay offenses is like the tight end is like just another guy. It's kind of Tyler Higbee-ish. It's important, but he doesn't really ask a ton of them. Just kind of, you know, inline standard tight end, I feel like. And then Kirk Cousins, I think coming in, we all know he likes to utilize his tight end. We all see, you know, the potential of what Kyle Pitts was his rookie year and everything like that. So it kind of seemed like I was always a little worried that there were kind of 2 philosophies that were about to collide. And I wasn't necessarily sure how Zach was going to manage them because, you know, we joke about Arthur Smith and his management of all these different players and everything like that, but it is a legitimate challenge. Like, it's not as easy as we all, you know, get the ball to Bijan, get the ball to London, you know. And so I was kind of wondering, it's like, okay, in year 1, who is most likely to kind of be put on the back burner while we get everything else up to speed and revved up that's more of like an importance and a staple of this system? And it was kind of like, I was like, well, Kyle Pitts, like, I'm like, they're going to use him and I think they're going to call on him, but I don't think he's the number 1 option. I didn't really see him being the number 2 option because we've talked about the importance of Bijan. I think Darnell Mooney's role in this offense is a little bit more important because of what he is offered and what he's like asked to do. And then so you kind of have Pitts in that 4th role there. And so, you know, I think that I was really happy with his performance in game 2 because Kyle Pitts like showed us like a level of blocking that he hasn't showed us before. And I still think it's crazy how nobody's like really talked about it or given him like much props for it or anything like that.
We did last show.
Yeah,
he had a
we
really
did.
good game blocking in Philly after like a, not fantastic game of like being asked to like hold it down with McGarry on JJ Watt, which is like, I don't know what that game plan is, but we scrapped that one. And last night, like, I get it, but it's like it's kind of hard for me to be upset with a guy that had like 2 catches and 60 yards. Like, I mean, it's he's the reason we scored that touchdown.
For sure.
Like, he makes a great play. Kirk makes a easy, like, I don't want to call it easy pass, but Kirk makes a pass that he should make in his sleep. Pitts able to extend it, get it down on the goal line. We run it in the next play with Bijan. Like, that's kind of what you hope Kyle Pitts can bring, is that he can be that explosive play creator that Steven was just mentioning. Like, that we need more of on this offense. Like, we need explosive plays in the passing offense, and we've done a good job getting them with Mooney, and like, we need to be able to do that more often. I think that the Chiefs did a really good job adjusting after that. They've struggled with tight ends, and they've been like letting them rip off chunk plays. And I think from that point, Spags made a conscious decision that he wanted Atlanta to beat them with the receivers on the outside, getting the ball to London, getting the ball to Mooney, which we saw Kirk and them do. Drake London had 8 targets, Mooney had 9. And they really focused on taking Pitts away. So, the production hasn't really been at the level I think that people have been expecting, but I don't really feel like outside of the Pittsburgh game that Pitts has looked bad. And, even then, that's the game he has his touchdown in. So I think Kyle Pitts is kind of right where I expected him to be so far. All these 3 teams offered very unique challenges on defense, and it asked these players to all do different things than I think that, they'd normally want them to do, or how I think we'll see them operate more, like how we kind of all expected over these next 14 games. So in terms of Pitts, I just kind of think that he's right where we expect him to be. He's going to be here next year. I'm not super worried. Kirk, like, if you've gone through him, he'll go through like the season, and like it'll be like 4 weeks of Jefferson, then 3 weeks of Hawk, then like it was Addison. Like, so I do think that Cousins is going to spread the love as we start going through the season more, and I think we just need to kind of be patient with Pitts. He's definitely played with his hand in the ground a lot more than I was expecting him to, and it just kind of is what it is. I don't really know the tight ends on this roster. Like, Charlie Warner's been solid, but like, I don't know about Ross Dwelly, man. Like, I'm like, this seals.
Charlie Warner had some good blocks last week. I'll give him that. He had some good blocks.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it's just been. I'm just like, if this guy's only here to block, it's like we could have just kept Parker Hesse and just had an elite, like, Swiss Army knife blocker. But different approach.
Yeah, no, I kind of attributed it to kind of what I expected, like you said, from the offense, just especially to start the year. It was kind of like Zach filling out everything, seeing how it works, Kirk getting used to the offense, like everyone just kind of getting used to the offense, getting used to playing together. And probably you're going to see like all those guys get more involved throughout the season as it goes on. Because I mean, I had to remind some folks a few weeks ago after the Pittsburgh game, like, hey, that first year of Shanahan, everybody was like shitting their pants, like, this is terrible, like, you got to get him out, this is just not going to work, and it was just, and he had been coaching before, like Tre'shon said, this is his first year of coaching against, of calling plays against these guys that that's pretty damn encouraging considering what we've been through. So, but Trey, man, I know you got to go, buddy, but like, tell everybody where they can find you, man, before you get out of here.
Yeah, no, over at the Falcoholic, doing great work. Been enjoying it, and with the sporting news as well. And you can find me on Twitter, Tre'shon. And it's been a pleasure joining you guys tonight, John, Steven. It's been a good show. I'm glad that you guys are out here keeping the peace. We're just talking everybody through it. I think that the community is in good hands, and it's been nice to be able to talk to you guys about the game.
Yeah, well, it was late notice, man, that I gave all you guys to come on today. So I appreciate you coming on at late notice. We'll get you come back on when you got the entire time you can hang out with us. And Mike's not, on an airplane in a freaking airport somewhere across the
Oh,
country.
no,
So,
Tre'shon wants to hang out with you and Mike, not you and me. It's okay.
Exactly. We know Mike brings all the guests. It's just like us, it's fine. But no, Trey, we appreciate it, man. Make sure y'all follow Tre'shon, man. Like you said, doing fantastic work, both the Sporting News and the Falcoholic. Buddy, we appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Later, man.
So yeah, just see him. Yeah, now we're two. Yeah, but picking up on that, what we were saying though, yeah, I mean, how are you feeling? Kind of, well, actually, before we do that, looking at the stats real quick. So we kind of caught back up a little bit with that second half. Like I said, with the total plays, we're looking at actually possession time. We were still down 11 minutes. Which is a lot of time when you're talking about playing the Chiefs. 11 minutes that Pat had it more than we did. Not great. Penalties were the exact same, which we know that should have been not the exact same, but it is what it is. We like Tre'shon alluded to, we didn't get a ton of pressure on him, a few times. I don't know what was up with Ebiketie hugging him. I don't know if he didn't want to he just caressed him there for a little bit. And I know Collinsworth was ecstatic about how, he'd been working out. His extra workouts is what kept him up there. That was, what happened there?
I have a feeling it probably was you don't want to sling him and get especially because they were, kind of calling pass, roughing the passer. Chris Jones kind of got one-on-one. If I was a Chiefs fan and we got called for that, I'd probably be, kind of annoyed. So I see what Ebiketie was trying to do. It does suck though, because he avoided the sack and then he converted the next down. So it's you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't. But
I was very annoyed.
Defensively, we just couldn't tackle anybody, man.
Yeah,
we could not tackle anybody this game. So
yeah, I was very
annoyed. Is annoying as hell.
Holy shit! I mean that meme I put, the GIF I put out about I first saw that with Aaron Rodgers years ago, and I was like, I wonder if there's one with Pat Mahomes. Of course there is. So I just thought that, and if y'all didn't look at it on Twitter, it's a line of urinals, and there's one dude, and it's that's Pat Mahomes, and then all these other urinals are free, and then here's Chris Collinsworth walking in, and he goes to the one right next to Pat Mahomes and peace now. So so I posted that, and this kind of went viral. But I mean, I thought it'd just been out there, but people, and when you watch that game, you listen to it, literally, after that play, he was like, oh yeah, all those extra workouts, you can stand up stronger. You could dude, come on, it was not even, it was an incomplete pass. There was almost sack. I mean, good Lord.
Collinsworth is one of those guys, man. I just tune him out. I'll hear what he's saying. My God, this guy's losing.
I mean, the roughing we got caught on. I mean, you gave him a little bit of a shove, but even that, come on, dude. Yeah. That's not even roughing. That was just lame to me too. But no, I mean, like I said, the total yards, we were 311, they were 345. Again, they were 6 for 14 on third down, which is a big difference from our 2 for 9. And we actually they were converting early on third down during the game, which was sucking. We couldn't get them off the field. That's what they kept getting those long drives. Now, later in the game, we were starting to really stop them on third down, which was great because we were able to get our offense back on the field, even though we really couldn't convert as well off of it. But both had 10 total drives. We actually averaged more yards per play than they did. Total plays, they had 72 to our 56. So we did catch back up, like I said, a little bit just due to that second half. So it wasn't as lopsided as the first half was. But like I said, to start the show, man, to have all that happen, and then again, to have Dahlman go down and to have McGarry go down, which if y'all haven't heard, McGarry's got an MCL, Dahlman's got a high ankle sprain. I haven't seen anything. My day's been crazy, so I know they both supposed to have MRIs to determine the severity of it, but I think they're day-to-day is the last thing I saw. Is that anything? Yeah. Okay, so
the last I'd seen with McGarry, I don't know if I've seen anything on Dahlman just yet, but I think for McGarry, I saw that he was expected to miss a couple weeks or something.
Yeah, so you can expect them both to miss time, which sucks because. I mean, you can say what you want about McGarry, and we've gave him his fair share of criticism on this show for what he doesn't have in pass blocking, but he is a damn good run blocker. And if you watched any of the 22 that I did last year, when he went down, there's a visible difference in Storm Norton and Caleb McGarry when it comes to run blocking. So that's going to suck. Dahlman's been doing a good job. Ryan Newsel, I thought filled in pretty well, but he's,
He did. Yeah, on one of the last plays, actually, him and Bergeron, I want to say, did a really good job. It was one of the big third down conversions, one of the few ones we got. Him and Bergeron did a really good job, with the reach block and getting up to the second level. We actually might not have converted that third down, but it set up the fourth down pass we got to Drake London. Mm-hmm. And they just did a good job filling in there. So I noticed with him, he did pretty good. I think, Norton struggled a little bit more at right tackle, which is to be expected. It's harder position to play, if I'm honest with you. It's a lot more isolated one-on-one versus center. You have your guards helping you out, right? Like he has at least Bergeron and Lindstrom next to him. So, that's one of the bright sides of having Lindstrom. You can hopefully lean on him a little bit to help your center out. And Bergeron has looked a little bit better. So we just got to stay afloat, I think, injury-wise on the line. Do what you can to mitigate at the right tackle. Use a chip and tight end, do whatever you need to do. But overall, they didn't it wasn't a total disaster. I'm not trying to pretend they were a total disaster.
Oh, no.
But,
it's tough. Yeah, like you said, you're going to have to account for it, whether it be chips or whatever. And I mean, if you watch the Saints game, and we're not going to get too much into the Saints on this show because we got the preview show this week coming up. But I mean, Granderson had a day against. I mean, Lane Johnson went out early with a concussion. So obviously, I forgot who the backup was, but I mean, he had a pretty damn good day. So that kind of, could be worrisome going into that game. But like I said, we'll see how the week progresses and how what those guys do. But yeah, I mean, Lisa said, did it feel like Zach Robinson was force feeding the ball to Bijan? For the most part, KC run defense was working and Zach didn't make the needed adjustments. I think it's fairly clear in the first 3 games that Bijan's going to get a lot of touches, regardless whether it's in the run game or pass game or both. I do agree with you that the outside zone. I mean, this game just wasn't working. I mean, they were defending it really well. So I mean, definitely need to make some adjustments there. I'm trying not to be overcritical of Zach. These just because of what Tre'shon said. I mean, this is his first 3 games, so I'm trying to give him some leeway. There is some basic stuff to your job that you need to be able to adjust in game and stuff like that, and see what's working and see what's not, and be able to make those adjustments. Tyler didn't have very many touches again. I don't know if that was
he had some towards the end.
But yeah,
we finally started moving the ball. I want to say they had they did a couple of wrinkles. There was Algier in there. They had the Bijan blocking on the outside zone for was it Ray? Yeah, it was the Ray play where he got face masked and didn't call it. Go figure.
What was that, dude? I tweeted that shit out. I was like, his face turned.
That was more egregious than the pass interference call, because the pass interference call, I can kind of get it. The face mask is like, dude, I saw his face ripped to the side.
Did you hear Collinsworth
he saw a bird?
Yeah. Did you hear Collinsworth try to get me? He's like, well, he didn't really grab it and turn it. And I'm like, he grabbed his face mask. That's the rule. It doesn't matter. Collinsworth was pissing me there. I don't like the dude. He was really, really annoying me last night.
That was crazy.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, like I said, trying to give Zach a little leeway. We'll see. Like I said, as these next 3 games, you've got the Saints and the Bucks and the Panthers, so go take care of business. And now, if we go lose against the Saints, the whole fan base is going to be really, 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 really pissed off to start 1-3, and it's going to be a different feel around here for sure. You go beat them 2-2, you're feeling pretty good going into Tampa Bay, because both of those teams look. I mean, New Orleans came back down to earth, whatever, and Philly just kind of gave you a game plan. They pressured Carr. They were. I mean, you can't let Kamara beat you, and they were getting after Carr. To kind of give you an idea of what possibly we can be able. That's still the consistent pass rush thing to me is still the biggest concern, and it probably will be all season, because I don't know, unless we do sign somebody or whatever. But exactly. So it's it just kind of is what it is. We have to just hopefully we can scheme some stuff, some rush up. But I mean, again, it just goes to how well the back ends play, and that even without that kind of rush, we're still holding teams, good teams to, not a lot of points. So if our offense can get it together, man, you kind of like where we're at. Dixon Way, what's up, Larry? He said, like button smash. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah.
He said, great content, and I'm still heated about the loss, but we live and learn and move on to the Aints. Yep. Yeah.
I always say this, and this is a big thing, Aaron always talks about on Locked On Falcons and stuff. Day of, feel however you want, man. I get my tweets off too. I get mad.
Oh yeah.
When you got at a certain point, you got to peel back the layers and be like, all right, I'm done. Let's actually, what do I think actually happened this game? Now, but that's one thing, that's something I've been trying to do more on game day, because, my urge is to sit there and kind of analyze and tell people what happened. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear what the hell I think's happened right after a loss as they're trying to be mad.
Right.
So it's shut the hell up, Steven, let them vent. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the film and do all that stuff. So that's something I try to do nowadays, where it's I don't need to go in there being like, well, actually the 4th down play call wasn't that bad. Nobody wants to hear that. We just lost the damn game, man. Shut the hell up.
No, I mean, I'm probably during the game, I'm probably far more emotional tweeting than I am like the day after or anything like that. I mean, like that's,
Yeah.
and I tell people that all the time on the show. I'm like, or if they, I'm like I'm gonna thank God that Avery Williams' knee was down when he fumbled that ball. I was about to hit send on some very rude shit, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had typed some very rude stuff. I probably would have regretted after the fact. So I'm really glad that did not happen. So I was able to delete it, and so that was that. But it was just you kept. I don't know, man. Like I just when stuff like that happens when the game is that close, it's just like, dude, we can't we can't have these mistakes happen. But yeah, so. How after these first 3 games, man, like I know we're 1-2. How are you feeling though, just overall? Like just your overall gut feeling, like is this kind of what you expected, or is it,
Yeah. Well, I guess for me, I kind of thought we'd go about 9-8 with the potential to kind of slide up 2 wins or slide down 2 wins based on a bunch of factors, right? Like was a edge rusher going to break out? Was CB2 going to be good? So far, CB2 has been pretty good.
Dude, Mike
so
Hughes,
for me, that's
again,
like a big benefit. Mike Hughes has been very, very good.
Yes, and Mike, I apologize again, man. I'm gonna apologize every show.
We were haters and we were wrong, Mike Hughes.
Yeah.
Go off. But yeah, so there were a couple factors. So to me, going 1-2 through this stretch, not how I expected it to happen. I guess the Steelers are really freaking good defensively, more than I thought they might be.
Justin Fields too, 3-0. Good figure.
Yeah, the Falcon fans who love Justin Fields, they're getting a dream over there with Arthur Smith and Fields. So good for them. I'm happy they're succeeding. So long as you give your best in the Falcon uniform for Arthur Smith, right? I don't think Arthur Smith ever gave up. I think he was always trying.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit there and hate on a guy once he leaves, unless he disrespects us on the way out.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. I'm not. Y'all feel however you want. I'm just telling you how I feel. I don't hate on guys once they leave. If you hate him because he sucked, all right, fair enough. But in terms of the Falcons now and what we're doing right now, I think to me the biggest encouraging factor is the fact that the defense has been genuinely good. Yes, we have our issues, but our issues are mitigated by the fact that our secondary has played really, really well, particularly the safeties and outside corners. I think, D. Alford's in the unfortunate position where I don't think he's bad, but he's probably the weakest player of a good group, so you naturally look bad, right? You know what I mean? It's like he's not actually playing terrible. He's just getting picked on because you don't want to pick on A.J. Terrell. You're not going to pick on Jesse Bates, right? And then apparently Mike Hughes is the reincarnation of Revis over there. So,
nobody's throwing deep on us.
Yeah. So the biggest issue is really the pass rush, but since the secondary is so good, it kind of mitigates it. And then I will say the other issue is probably just we cannot stop the run at all. So that's a big fear of mine going into New Orleans in particular. We got to figure something out within the week because,
they're going to spam tomorrow.
They've been running all over people. And if they run all over us, it's not going to be a fun day. And that's probably the biggest thing for me. So I guess to sum it up on how I feel about the Falcons in general, I'm encouraged by the offense. And I think the defense, while not amazing, is good enough to let the offense win games. So it's going to be kind of rocky over the next couple weeks. I really think we'll probably hit our stride like week 8. So, if we can get through these next 3 games, beat 2 out of 3. Whether you're losing to the Saints or losing to Tampa, just make sure you beat Carolina and you beat the other one. Now, obviously, I hate the Saints. I'd rather beat them and beat Carolina.
Yeah.
But, as long as you come out of this stretch 2-1, I think you're in okay shape.
Yeah, I agree. I would love a 3-0 like we all would. Again, you saw Tampa Bay look kind of, Baker was my fantasy QB this weekend. And, of course, poops a bed. And and I had Caleb Williams as well. And, of course, he goes off. Doesn't have a fantastic day, but he threw a ton of yards, had a couple of touchdowns. And that was definitely should have had him in there. But anyway, that's fantasy. And that's why I tell myself I want to stop playing every single year, but I keep doing it. I'm kind of with you, man. After the first 3, it's like, I didn't know what to expect. I was probably more hopeful or like excited than I maybe should have been going into the season, just based off, just all the weapons. We have a legitimate quarterback, and everything's new and hopeful. So I probably was too excited for that first game when we came out looking just flat and it's kind of just discombobulated as we did. That one was just like, shit, and it was Arthur Smith, and it sucked to lose Arthur, and he just left, and it sucked to lose Justin Fields because that was just everything around that whole situation just sucked to lose that way. Singling McGarry against Watt, all that all that shit. So but like you said, you watch Pittsburgh after these first 3 games. I mean, they've shut down pretty much every team they've played on defense. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like legitimate defense. Then you play Philly in Philly. I don't care what they're doing at that point. If you beat Philly in Philly, I love it.
It's a good
You
win.
definitely you made progress. Good deal. And the same thing here with this game. It's like, this game was here for the taking, even with all the issues that we had. So it's like, I don't know how. Yeah, you can nitpick if you want, but overall as a Falcons fan, you should feel pretty damn good about where you're at going into the Saints game, man. I mean, it's I if we go in there and handle business, and like I said, the run defense does worry me a little bit. With like I said, because Kamara, they've been spamming him pretty much all season, and he looks like kind of vintage Kamara all of a sudden. Trevor Penning almost. I don't know if he's going to get like. Did you see the play on Darius Slay?
Since college, man, he has been like,
oh my gosh,
really tough guy.
He drove Slay like 10 yards out of bounds and kept
I have never seen him go up to a Grady Jarrett and try to do that. The only time you see him do it is when he's on some 6-foot corner who weighs like 200 pounds.
Half his weight, yeah.
He is fake tough, man. He is fake tough. Also worth noting, as much as Ebiketie, I think Ebiketie played pretty okay this week, honestly, after kind of being down last week, in my opinion. I think he played pretty okay this week. But in college, Ebiketie whooped Penny so hard. So maybe that, tap into that a little bit and go off that. But I'm with you. I don't know if he's going to get suspended or something because, he's just, again, he's a fake tough guy, man. Like, go actually square up on somebody your size. I wish Aaron Donald was still out there and you try to square up on Aaron Donald because that man would throw you in the stratosphere, man.
Right. I didn't even hear if Slay's like hurt, like if he's going to miss time or whatever. Yeah, I know he left the game. Not. Yeah, me too. But yeah, and then quickly taking a look at the rushing stats. I mean, Tyler had 7 carries for 32 yards. I mean, he was averaging, like I said, 4.6 a carry as opposed to Bijan's 1.9. So I mean, that's a pretty big difference there. Maybe
maybe indicative of Bijan or Algier. I think that's just like how it worked out. With the
100%. Yeah. I mean, I just it's like I mean, there's no. Unless we're running 70 plus plays a game, there's no real good way to really, like, if you want to quote unquote share the load with those guys, because you want Bijan to get those because he can break one any moment, and that's what you hope for. But at the same time, it's like, man, Tyler's going to get these chunk plays as well. These chunk yards. We saw him break it last year. Nobody knew he had that. I forgot what game it was, but when he broke the one that was like 70 yards, it's like, no, you can break it too. It's just this is different, but.
Algier doesn't get the credit for it, but he has real wiggle. Like, we had 2 genuinely very good running backs. And I will say, I think what actually has hurt Algier more than anything else is the fact that Bijan has leveled up into being like a genuinely elite pass protector. Because that used to be Algier's kind of thing.
He really is.
If you will. Rookie year Bijan wasn't as good in pass pro. Algier was really good in pass pro. So in that case, it kind of forced the balance a little bit because you don't want, your quarterback getting hit. This time around, we have 2 running backs who are both really, really good in pass pro. And I think that's why you saw them, they'd run some of these 2 running back sets. We talked about it a little bit. It was, more successful week 1. They had that jet sweep with Bijan on 4th and 1 against the Steelers. That was the kind of the 2 running back set. So there's stuff they can do to try to get them both on the field. Unfortunately, the Algier lead blocking thing didn't work. I don't think you bury it. See if you can maybe coach him up on it, try it again. Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean it's inherently a bad idea. But it is tough because I think we all want Bijan out there all the time. And now that he's a good pass protector, it's hard to get Algier snaps out there. And it sucks, too, because we want Algier out there, too. He's good.
I know.
He breaks big runs, So, it's a good problem to have is what I'll say. But, I'm glad when Algier does get his snaps, he seems to take it, like, to heart. He's like, all right, I got 7 snaps this game. Let's see what I can do. Let's get rolling.
Yeah, I know. And it sucks that that Lemon being hurt, because it's like, I do think that Ellis would be, and they would maybe use Ellis more, and that would actually help the pass rush more if you're actually using him more. But I think he's with Lemon out, like he's kind of having to man those inside linebacker duties along with Troy. So it's kind of like, I know they're trying to still find ways to have him pressuring the quarterback, but how do you feel about Troy this game, by the way? He had 12 tackles, led the team in tackles.
But pretty low bar. Not that I think he was as bad as we talked about on the preview, right? I don't think he was as bad as the film shit or the TV copy shit.
Right.
But I think he was a little bit better. I really just think, for as much as people were talking about our interior D-line being the strength of the team, and I'm going to rant here for a second, but everybody telling me it's actually fine that our rookies aren't playing. Our interior D-line is really good. Man, I'm watching the tape. Our interior D-line is not that good. Like Grady Jarrett's good. Onyemata's good. Eddie Goldman was good week 1. I don't think he's been anything special since. So, I don't necessarily fully buy into the narrative that our interior D-line is amazing and should be blocking our rookies from playing or getting snaps or whatever.
Right.
So we need them to kind of step up, because it is tough, because when your interior D-line isn't doing anything, that's when you get your linebackers getting blocked up in space on the second level. And then, yeah, of course they look bad because we can't freaking run block anybody up front. Like, we can't penetrate. We can't do anything. And, it's okay if you have an occasional splash play, which is sort of what our interior D-line is doing right now. They're giving up big runs. Eventually, Onyemata or Grady or whoever else, slips a tackle, gets in the backfield, makes a big stop. And then we're, 2nd and 14. So you're like, okay, this is working. It doesn't change on a down-to-down basis. I think the interior D-line's kind of getting worked. And they're not getting any help from the edge room either. So this is kind of – and hell, the edge and D-line aren't getting help from the linebackers. So it's really everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but it's genuinely speaking, I think it is the whole unit just needs to do better. Linebackers need to play their assignments better. Edges need to hold up better. And interior D-line just can't get pushed around. I get a double team. The whole point of it is to move you, but you can't just completely give up and just get totally shoved out of the play. So it's hard, man. The D-line is probably my biggest worry for what could potentially tank us defensively this season. Because I think the secondary's proven they're really good, and I think the linebackers are okay. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think they're terrible. If Landman was back, maybe I'd say they're even good, because then we kind of have more variety. Unless Troy levels up and plays the run a little bit better, I think their linebacker group is just stuck being okay, which is fine. You're not going to have stars everywhere.
Yeah.
But when your D-line unit's bad, your linebackers are just okay, and your secondary is the only good part of your team, it's kind of hard to stop the run, because, I love A.J. Terrell against the run, but not sitting him up there through the middle,
No. And it's clearly, if Trice had not got hurt in preseason, he would be part of that rotation at the end. And he'd probably be, honestly, he'd be the only rookie playing right now, because, Rook's been inactive the first 3 weeks, which kind of, so I know a lot of people are pissed off about that, because, he's a second-round pick. And it's but like we talked about last show, it's a crowded-ass room there in the interior. It really is. And, you're going to have to, really show out to get on the field there. But, if – and not to mention, we've played 3 teams, and I know
really good O-lines.
Really good O-lines.
We played really good O-lines.
Exactly.
The Steelers weren't a good O-line, but they pass protected with 7 all the time. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see because I think there's some opportunities against the offensive line against the Saints. So I'd be interested to see if
somebody
Rook maybe gets in there and maybe gets next to Grady and gets a swim move and goes to the middle, something like that, if he is able to get on the field. But like I said, we'll talk about that on the preview show. But so even in the loss, we have to do the Out of Your Falcon Mind player of the game on offense and defense. So who would you give it to on offense?
It's a real shame, because I think he didn't get the win that he should have got. But I actually am going to give it to Kyle Pitts. Not because he had the big catch or because, really the end, but just because when I was watching the film, man, I saw him consistently winning one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
He had just lined up one-on-one outside, gap the corner. We didn't throw the ball because that, again, like I was talking about, that's the throw we had to Mooney. That was a good game, whatever. But when you watch the film, if these guys are consistently winning, because we talked about it in the previous show, I was questioning whether our weapons would consistently win against man coverage. They did this game. Mooney won, Drake London won, Kyle Pitts won. That doesn't mean they get the ball. But if I turn on the film and I think you're actually doing what we need you to do, and that goes to Drake London as well. Obviously I'm going to pick Kyle Pitts here just because I think he had a couple opportunities, especially that touchdown. It sucks that we just didn't get a better ball out there.
Right.
He had multiple opportunities where he could have got, more yardage and stuff. But shout out Drake London too. 2 weeks in a row on a fourth down. Obviously he had the touchdown against Slay and whatnot, but on the fourth down during this game, he was once again one-on-one in the slot. He shook somebody outside, cut inside, converted the down. So to me, that's the sign of being an actual weapon, being a wide receiver one. When we need you to win, can you win? I don't care if you go off for 200 yards. We all remember games where, Julio was kind of quiet and out of nowhere he gets 3 catches in a row because we know we need to get the ball moving. So to me, that's kind of the shout out I'll give for Pitts because, again, in the previous show, I talked about how we didn't really believe in him this game. Now, he didn't get over on the catches, but I think he could have, which to me is a good sign because that to me means if he's winning one-on-ones, over a large sample size, he's going to start to get those targets. So Kyle Pitts is my baller for offense.
Yeah, I was going to go. I'll go. Since you mentioned Drake, I was going to go Drake anyway. But because he keeps showing you again why he's wide receiver one, and he doesn't have to have crazy separation. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not that type of guy. He's going to use his body to box out, and he always makes contested catches. Like he's going to catch it, doesn't drop it. He's got big, strong hands, and he's becoming that guy that Kirk can clearly depend on when you need him. Like he's throwing the ball, he's going to find a way to catch it, which is awesome. So, and I got to give an honorable mention to Chris Lindstrom because the man had the guy to his left go down and the guy to his right go down, and I think he ended up being the PFF's highest rated offensive player that we had. Again, I canceled my subscription to PFF because I just don't really care all that much. I found out because after a while, it has its good things and its bad things, but it's like, sometimes the grading system is a little bit weird. It doesn't go with what your eyes see. But
I've never been a PFF guy. I like their podcast. Their podcast actually is pretty fun.
I
don't like their actual grades.
Yeah,
I don't like the system.
Agreed. So I was like, you know what, that's not even really worth paying for anymore. But so honorable mention to Chris Lindstrom, like I said, because he had to pick up the slack for a couple of guys and make sure that right side of the line staying together. Defensively, buddy, who you going with?
It's hard not to pick Simmons, right?
Right.
Picked off.
We'll just agree on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and not just that, but he had like a number of good plays, just kind of in coverage.
Bates as well, man. Bates knocking the ball out.
Our secondaries look good. That's the best way I can put it. If you're going to lean on anything defensively, lean on your secondary. That's part of the reason, we talked about, again, I always reference the previous show, go back and listen, but we talked about would our secondary be able to hold up against the receivers and the receiving weapons. Now, we also talked about if you're going to let Rice and Worthy kind of beat you, don't let Kelsey beat you. They didn't let Kelsey beat us. They kind of let the receivers go, but I don't think they cooked us or anything. They didn't beat our secondary. It's just the other guys get paid too, right? It's not like they're tearing us apart out there. They're just making good plays. So I think our whole secondary played great, but I definitely give it to Simmons, man. 4 interceptions in a row on Mahomes.
I know.
That's wild.
That was great too, man. This is kind of baited him like he wasn't even in the play, and all of a sudden comes out of nowhere and gets him. Travis, buddy, he looked like that shot of him on the sideline. He's going through it, man. Looks like he's got that. They got the haircut that's not working for him, and I don't know if that's a Taylor thing or not, but it's looks like he's having a time right now. So that poor guy. Not at all. I really don't care. I do like that. I do. Do you ever listen to the podcast though, like him and Jason?
I have not listened to that. I listened to like clips of it. I don't think I've ever sat down and listened to like a full episode.
Yeah, I listened to a few. It's just not bad. They're entertaining and nothing else. But But anyway, man, that's about all I got on the game. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Again, I guess my last thing for anybody that's listening is, pissed that we lost the game. Be pissed. I don't believe in moral victories either. What I believe in is analyzing what I saw on the field. I analyze what I saw on the field. It's hard to feel terrible about our odds going forward through the season. In the same way, it was hard to look at what we did on the field week 1 and feel good about our season, right? I don't think anybody overreacted to what we did week 1. We just had a small sample size. Reality is we have a small sample size with the team right now. We have 3 games. I think a lot of our issues have really been just Kirk Cousins, not being quite as good as he needs to be. Because again, we're talking those two red zone touchdowns we could have had. He just puts a better ball out there, which he can do. We've seen him do this. Yeah. He's gotten a little bit better each and every game. So the hope there is, hey, small sample size, 3-game sample size, he hasn't looked that good. Maybe the next 3 games is the larger sample size. He's going to start looking really good. So it's hard for me to just sit there and be total, out of my mind. Like season's over. If we lose to the Saints, I'll be out of my mind. But just beat the Saints and it'll be fine.
Yeah, no, agreed, man. like I said, you can feel however you want. I'm not going to tell anybody how they need to be a fan. It's if you want to take it. It's a tough life if you take every loss personally and wear it on your sleeve. Because if you do that, especially as a Falcons fan, you're good. It's going to start affecting you mentally, and you probably shouldn't do that. During the game, go off, do what you want to do. I certainly do. I scare the dog. I scare the dog. My wife's like, "You're an idiot." I mean, like I scream like I'm actually on the sideline or I'm playing. Like my kid does the same thing. Like, so yeah, probably,
All
but
about it.
yeah, I mean, so you do that all you want, but like let it pass. And then, like Steven said earlier in the show, you look back at it, take the good with the bad, move on to the next week, and it's like, we got a lot to be happy about, man. I mean, to be honest with you, we've seen a lot of promising things. It's a brand new offense. It's a brand new defense. These guys have got to gel, and the defense is carrying the offense. Like I
Yeah.
kind of thought was going to happen, at least to start the season. We haven't been blown out. I mean, there's been teams around the league that's been blown the hell out. I mean, just embarrassed. And like we've been
Raiders.
Raiders. I mean, my God, dude, Andy Dalton
Real
going
fast,
off.
shout out to the Red Rifle, man.
Good Lord.
Came in there. He just tore them apart, man. That was some of the best quarterback play I've seen all season in Carolina.
Stupid. Yeah, that was just. I mean, crazy. Clearly, yeah. I mean, yeah. So we got those guys in a few weeks, but I mean, it's I mean, just it's not. I just wouldn't feel that bad about it. I mean, like I said, I may be. If we lose the Saints, I may be sounding completely different this time next week.
You're also different, man. Like if we lost to Tampa, I'd be like, all right, Tampa's pretty good, but I just hate the Saints, man.
Me too. I cannot stand losing to them.
It's just it ruins my week.
Especially at home.
With other losses, we lose to the Saints, it just ruins my week. I can't mentally process anything. Work is terrible. Anybody who says anything to me in the morning, I'm like, fuck out of here, man.
Yep.
It's just it ruins my week.
Especially, like I said, especially at home. That's the worst, because then they celebrate in your building, and it's like you don't. Like I turn it off immediately. I don't watch any post game. I don't watch.
Last year I didn't do film review, and I'm always in the film, man. When we lost to the Saints, I was like, I can't watch this.
No, dude, it was terrible. Yeah, I mean, I did it. I don't. It was. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to do it again. Double B, what's up, Bradley? So at least we saw competent play out of the offense again. Lost to the best team in a close game. That was a huge. That was only tough to swallow because we had a shot. Exactly.
It's a Falcons experience, man.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, it was just, yeah. I mean, you want to win, of course, especially when we had the opportunities. And again, the ref, again, that sucks. It happens, and it happens a lot with KC, but we knew that going into it. Happened to us. But yeah, look, man, just be positive heading into this week, and show up to the Benz, be loud as hell, because there's going to be some Saints fans there as well. But like I said, we'll be back. I got to get with Mike and see what time he's going to be, because he is in Omaha, Nebraska this week working. Yeah. So as far as I know, we're still planning on Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the preview show for the Saints. I need to get with our buddy Chris, who's, if you're an old school fit listener or watch or whatever supporter of the show, Chris was back on, I think, maybe in the first and second season of the show that we did. I don't know. But anyway, he's from Louisiana, huge Saints fan, follows the team very closely. Like our only friend of ours that's actually a Saints fan. So like he was really good on the show. So I'm going to see if he's available to come on, and we can talk about that with him. If not, either way, we'll have a great show. Mike will be back, like I said. Probably we'll just plan on Wednesday at 7 p.m. But just keep your eye on the channel. I'll post it if that changes, or on, if you're following us on socials, out of your effing mind on X, I'll post it there as well. So
I got to get it from you while we're talking face to face here.
Yeah.
Who you got for Georgia Bama? You feel good?
You know what? I don't know. I have no good. I don't feel anything. Like I'm really devoid of feeling. That's like, because like when those, especially recently when those games happen, they're always such a. I mean, I try not to get like super high on those games, like on any Bama game, because it's like I don't want to be, let down. So I just try to just stay as even as I can with it. And I mean, if you'd have asked me before the Kentucky game, I would have been like, Georgia's probably going to come in and get the win. They looked really normal against Kentucky. Yeah, they look very normal against Kentucky. So
hey, listen, South Florida's looking like a better team to struggle with now, because they played pretty decent the other day.
Yeah, well. I mean, yeah, there's some things that concern me about that game, but I mean, yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, the best thing going for it, other than, I mean, it's in Alabama. It's gonna be tough for them to. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be an insane environment. But I got a ton of respect. I'm not one of those fans that hate Georgia, or hate the opponent, except for maybe Auburn. But I mean, Georgia. I mean, Kirby was Alabama for so long, and he was so well. They're like, I can't not like the guy.
I also think it's really easy to not hate when like you're the successful franchise. So
Right?
it's like we usually beat Georgia and like we've won like a ton of championships.
Yeah,
Good job, Georgia. You're doing
right.
good.
And honestly, in I kind of hate it in a way because I'm not going to go off the college football tangent, but like the way that the 12-team playoff now is like you can lose a game and still make the playoffs. Like it's the old school ways. If you lost a game, there's a good shot you're not going to make the playoffs. Or you're not going to have a chance at the national championship. Which I mean, that part I kind of hate because that's what made the regular season so important. Like every game was like edgier. So like I would be a lot more concerned on the edge of my seat, kind of nervous about this game if that was still the case. But we can lose this game and still make the playoffs if we have a good run. But it's going to be a tough because Tennessee's legit as well this year, I think. So I don't know. It's just going to be. I can't wait for the game itself. It's going to be awesome. But I think it's going to be close regardless. I think it's going to be a close game. But
sorry to say, my fiance is an Auburn fan, so I have to root against you, John.
It's okay. That's understandable. You have to. There's certain times in life.
Obligated. I'm marrying the woman. I gotta hate Bama.
Well, there's like I said, you have to pick and choose. That's a good thing to pick. I mean, I can't argue with you there, so it makes total sense. But yeah, man. So, dude, totally really appreciate you coming on for like literally like last minute to come on and talk Falcons tonight. So
it was good.
Yeah, man. So, all right, guys, y'all that was joining us, we appreciate it. I know there's like 17 different shows going on right now. Lowe is live, Smitty's live, probably Mad Mike's live. There's like so many people live right now. So if y'all stop by and watch this, we appreciate it. If you're checking us on the replay, drop a like for us so we can get the video out there to more fans. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, if you're listening to us, iTunes, Spotify, wherever, drop us a 5-star review. We'd much appreciate that. If y'all want to email us in anything to the show, atlfalconfancast@gmail.com. We'll be happy to read it the next live. And Tyler, Jesus Christ, Myler, I have not forgot, buddy. I'm going to read the iTunes 5-star review you got for us, but I'm going to wait for Mike to get back. So that's the only thing. But Myler's going to be in town for the Saints game too. So we got to, we got to connect on. Yeah, for sure. We got to connect and go have a beer too. Hopefully after a victory. But yeah, so we appreciate y'all, man. We will catch y'all Wednesday, like I said, at 7 p.m. Unless anything changes. Steven, are you doing 22 this week? You are going to put out video?
Yeah, actually, I just put up a video tonight on the offense, 3rd downs and 4th downs. So not every play, but again, it breaks into all of our 4th down play calls and most of our 3rd down ones. So it was fun to break into because that was a big talking point, like we talked about on the pod tonight, right? Like the offense hasn't really been executing on 3rd and 4th down, so I kind of broke into it. Which is why I kind of had some. It was really good timing because I just finished my video when you texted me. To be honest, I finished it like an hour before.
Love it. Well, make sure y'all go follow Steven on YouTube. That's at Hara ATL, HARRAH ATL to catch those because I'm not sure. I'm going to try to get one this week. Again, I'm not sure I'm going to have time to do it, but I'm going to try my best to get the 22 out. But yeah, definitely go follow Steven. Does a great job with it. And we'll have Steven again on. Who knows? It could make a 3rd straight appearance. We don't know. Well, it's going to depend on his schedule. If Mike gets the timing right, we'll see. Who knows? You never know. And thanks. Shout out to Tre'shon too for joining us from Falcoholic. Make sure you follow Tre'shon. Fantastic job. Knows his stuff. It's a fun follow on Twitter. So thank y'all so much, man. We will catch y'all on Wednesday. Steven, thanks again, buddy. And we out of here. I mean, and be positive. Be positive. Yes. I know we lost, guys. Be positive. Okay, head up. We got the Aints coming to town. We're gonna kick their ass. All right. So we will catch y'all on Wednesday. Oh, wait, one more comment before we get out of here. Appreciate you, Bradley. Have a good one, man.
Have a great night, man. Fuck the Saints. Am I right?
Hey, one more time. We're going out. One more time. What was that?
Fuck the Saints.
Peace.